used to think love meant knowing someone completely. 6 years of marriage had me convinced I did. Part 1. I knew the way he liked his coffee. The way his brow creased when he was focused. The way he always double-checked the locks before bed. Our life wasn't glamorous, but it was ours. Friday movie nights with takeout on the couch. Sunday lunches at his parents' place. Random kisses in the kitchen while the kettle boiled. People used to say we were the couple that made marriage look easy. And maybe we were. At least, that's what I thought. The first change was small. His phone. For years, it lived on the counter unlocked, forgotten. Now it was glued to his hand. At dinner, it sat face down beside his plate. At night, he slid it under his pillow as if it needed protection. I caught myself staring at it sometimes, wondering what he was hiding. But then I'd shake my head. Don't be paranoid. He's just busy. Then came the late nights. He claimed he was buried in projects, but the tiredness in his voice didn't match the crispness of his suits when he came home. One evening, I reached into his briefcase for a pen and found a note card tucked into a folder. Coffee stained, with 4 words written in looping handwriting. To new beginnings. It wasn't his handwriting. It wasn't mine. I tried to dismiss it. A client? A colleague? But when I asked him casually about his day, his answer was vague, distracted. And I noticed, for the first time, that he smelled faintly of cologne I didn't own. Spicier. Heavier. And beneath it, something softer. Jasmine. The signs started piling up. Credit card statements with restaurant charges in parts of town we never visited. A florist receipt for a bouquet of long-stemmed roses I never saw. Even his moods shifted. One day overly affectionate, showering me with compliments. The next, distant, as if he couldn't stand the sound of my voice. Still, I told myself it couldn't be what I feared. He was my husband. My person. The man who'd held my hand through funerals. Who'd carried me to bed when I was sick. Surely there was an explanation. Until the hotel receipt. I found it crumpled in his jeans pocket as I sorted laundry. A 4-star hotel downtown. One night, a Thursday. A Thursday he swore he was working late. My chest felt like it was caving in. I sat there on the edge of the bed, the receipt trembling in my hand, staring at the man's shirt that still smelled of jasmine. That week dragged like quicksand, every minute heavy with suspicion. By the time Thursday came, my nerves were raw, my stomach a knot I couldn't untie. That evening, I followed him. I trailed his car through city streets, headlights bouncy against the dark. My hands shook on the wheel, but I kept my distance, heart thundering with each turn he made. Finally, he pulled into the hotel parking lot. The same name as the receipt. I parked across the street, engine off, gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles burned white. My breath fogged the windshield as I waited, praying I was wrong. But then he stepped out. My husband, dressed sharper than usual, shirt crisp, jacket freshly pressed, neat hair. A quick glance at his reflection in the car window. And then she appeared. A woman, younger, in a red dress that clung to her figure. She moved with a kind of ease I hadn't felt in years, laughing at something he whispered before she even reached him. He touched her arm, fingers trailing a little too long. And when he leaned down to kiss her cheek, the sound that left my throat was more a gasp than a breath. They walked into the hotel together, his hand pressing against her back, guiding her like he used to guide me. I sat frozen in my car, watching the man I thought I knew disappear behind glass doors with someone else. I couldn't breathe, couldn't move. It felt like my whole world had been split in two, and I was watching the better half walk away. I didn't confront him that night. I drove home in silence, betrayal burning in my chest. By morning, I knew I couldn't unsee what I saw. I couldn't pretend everything was fine. I still loved him, but I needed answers. I'd start with that text I saw. Part 2. I used to think love meant knowing someone completely. 6 years of marriage had me convinced I did. I didn't confront him that night, but I forced myself to keep playing the unsuspecting wife. I smiled when he bragged about his busy day. I nodded at his jokes, even when they landed flat. I pretended to sleep when he snuck into bed past midnight. It was agony, but it gave me time. Time to gather evidence. Time to prepare myself for what I knew would come. And with each day, the truth became clearer. The man I had loved, trusted, and built a life with wasn't just lying to me. He was actively hiding another life. I told myself it wasn't just about revenge. It was about protecting myself. Protecting my heart. My sanity, and if it came to it, my future. By the end of that week, I had enough to confront him. Not recklessly, not in blind anger, but with the power of the truth in my hands. I wasn't ready to forgive him. I wasn't ready to cry. I was ready to face him. Part 3. I used to think love meant knowing someone completely. 6 years of marriage had me convinced I did. By the end of the week, I had everything I needed. Every late-night call, every suspicious charge, every photo of receipts and messages all neatly organized. I wasn't acting out of anger anymore. I was acting with clarity. That evening, I waited at home. The apartment was quiet. The hum of the fridge the only sound. I sat at the kitchen table, the folder in front of me, a glass of water in my hand. My chest was tight, my palms cold, but my mind was sharp. When he walked in, cheerful and unaware, my stomach twisted. "Hey," I said, voice steady. "How was your day?" "Same as always," he replied, tossing his keys on the counter. "Busy." I gestured toward the folder. His eyes flicked toward it, curiosity first, then unease. "What's this?" he asked, his tone casual but laced with tension. "I collected it," I said evenly. "Late-night calls, hotel charges, receipts from places we never went. Every time you lied to me, you left a trace. I just followed it." He froze. His face paled. I can explain." "Don't," I interrupted. "Not a word. I've heard enough lies to last a lifetime." He searched my eyes, and I could see the first flicker of panic. For the first time, he was exposed, not just caught, but powerless. "You've been seeing her," I said quietly, deliberately. "Yes," he admitted, the word heavy, hollow. I let the silence stretch. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, letting the weight of the truth settle between us. The man I had trusted and loved for years sat across from me, suddenly small, stripped down to the lie I had uncovered. "I loved you," I said, my voice firm. "I trusted you, and you chose to lie. Again, and again, and again." He reached for my hand, hesitation in every movement. "Please, we can fix this. I made a mistake." I pulled my hand back slowly, my gaze unwavering. "This isn't about forgiveness. It's not about fixing anything. It's about protecting myself, my heart, my sanity, my future. You made your choices. Now I make mine." The shift was immediate. His confident mask crumbled, and I felt a surge of power I hadn't had in months. This wasn't about hurting him. This was about reclaiming myself. By the end of the night, I had made my decision. I wouldn't stay. I wouldn't beg. I wouldn't cry in desperation. I would leave with my evidence, my dignity, and control over my own life. As I finally settled into bed later, I felt the sting of heartbreak, yes, but beneath it, something else. Clarity. Strength. I realized confronting the truth, fully, without flinching, was the only way to survive. The divorce will be messy, but one thing is certain. I'm taking everything I deserve. I'm walking away stronger than ever.